Well, this is 2019. This is the very first time we've been able to get back live on YouTube. And we've got a big night ahead of us. This is a live with the Grid Keeper. Hello, the Grid Keeper. Hello.
You know, it's been 7 months since we did this. Can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah. I've got the spelling. It's IS, by the way. This is Bases 88 from the bunker, Ein und Bunker, and a huge amount of stuff has been happening since Bases 88, since Tim and yourself did those interviews last summer.
Yeah.
And she'll probably really get fed up with me, since she can't get any more fed up with me. Caroline was there as well. Caroline Stephens. Observing off camera.
Yeah.
Did she know how historic that was all going to be?
No.
Did you know how historic it was all going to be?
Yes, I did.
You did? Or are you just saying that now, are you?
I had an inkling.
You had an inkling.
I did.
And the whole purpose of this, God, I'm so furious. I've got the wrong spelling of your name. That's so annoying.
The common thing.
I've got it right on one of them anyway.
Right.
And we got the picture up at the moment with Tim looking through the hole in his remote viewing room in Brighton, which was so rudely. That's because the disc is full in that other one. Well, we won't be recording the other one. Well, why don't you explain to the audience exactly what on earth we're doing here while I go and get another hard drive on this backup recorder?
Yeah.
Well, now that we know we are actually going out, and it's a fairly good minute between what's happening.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll mix to you with Total Intent Manifest, Mr. Tim Rifat.
Well, we're going to talk about James first, or
yeah, we'll. God, I don't have a picture about James.
No, everyone knows James by now, don't they?
Well, why don't I just put a different picture in?
Everyone knows how to use Google.
They do. The AI. Okay, Duncan Davies. Meet Duncan Davis.
Yeah.
Now, what happened a couple of days ago? I want to get this other recorder going. So, could you talk about James?
Where do I start? All I'll say about James that he was lied to like the rest of us, and he's just been used like everyone else, and he doesn't really know the truth. He doesn't really understand what he's doing, like most people don't. But we're in those times where everyone at the moment has read so much and learnt so much that everyone's got their own unique perspective, and everyone just wants to tell each other that they're right and they know everything, and they don't. I don't claim to know everything, but I'm very lucky to know a lot, and I've seen a lot, and I've seen more than most. You try telling that to people, it's really hard. And James, I'm not going to say why they're messing with him in prison. I know exactly why. And it's not what everyone's talking about. It couldn't be further from it. And I don't think it's helping James's cause, people talking so much about James when they don't have any facts about anything.
Well, let's give us these facts. I mean, the fact is...
The other thing is...
The fact is he's in Earlstoke jail, not too far from here, and he phoned me on Thursday explaining why he was taken from the other jail.
Yeah, there's one thing a lot of people don't realise, I've seen videos of people slagging you off for talking about James, But what all these other people that talk about us, like you especially, and James, is that they don't understand that we're all friends and we know each other, We've got a relationship, and people don't understand all that either, and that doesn't help. It's all a bit stupid. But James is, if James got out, well, we were talking on the phone that I wanted to pick him up from prison. Maybe I shouldn't have spoken about that on the phone, but
well, I think they pretty well know who we are and what we're saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I think the idea is to...
I know they don't want me to speak to James. I've never been able to see him in prison. I've tried. You know, I've spoken to the prison and it was all a bit weird. They just don't
exactly
want me
what happened with the prison.
You know? Oh, what, the phone call?
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was ages ago. I stopped ringing him.
Well, you did tell me, Duncan,
you know?
you did tell me
Yeah.
that James had met the head of MJ12.
Oh, talk about that.
And he had a photograph.
Let's talk about draconians.
Yeah, there's a lot changing in this whole scenario right now.
Yeah, something I told you the other day. There's things like when these events happened, 10, 13 years ago, there was a lot of things that just weren't worth telling anyone because no one's going to believe you. You know, because it just sounds so ridiculous and out there. But, I can join some things up now. There's, so the UFO crash that Mr. Telescope Man, Mr. Wilson filmed all those years ago. And what it was where we had that interview, where you first ever interviewed me.
That's at Goodwood Racecourse.
Yeah, and I'll tell
at the end of the runway. Near the
sitting there was a guy sitting off to one side that we kept referring to in the interview, but he didn't want to be seen. Well, we can say now who he is.
Sohail.
It was Sohail, yeah. So what happened was, he rang me up one night and he said, something's fallen out of the sky. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go, just trying to get me out. So picked me up, and then I had another friend with me. That's Matt, the guy in my really old crop circle videos from about 10, 15 years ago. I used to talk in the middle of the crop circles and do the dowsing. So we've driven up there, and we've gone up to the top of the hill, and we've gone round to the back, up this little track road, and we were met with blue flashing lights in the car park, and you couldn't work out what was going on. There was so much commotion. It was really weird to work out. Anyway, the police came running over to us, and all I remember was the policeman saying, you shouldn't be here, it's time to go. It was a weird sort of phrase. And do you know what? The only other time I've ever heard that said to me that I can remember was when we were removed from Balmoral Castle by the police, when I was there with James and Sohail and
another friend,
the JFK man, who's he's in the video I gave you from the raw tape unedited just to upload a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we've left the scene. We've gone round to where you did the interview, exactly there, and we're parked up, and we're just thinking, what the hell's going on? So we've got out the car, and we've run up the hill, and we've looked over, and I've got binoculars, and we're looking down, and you can see all these lights, and there was military fire engines there, like the old green goddesses. And you'd think, well, hang on, this only happened 20 minutes ago. Where'd you get a green goddess from to suddenly appear here, with all these other military vehicles? And there was Land Rovers driving up and down the lower track lane with floodlights. And they were searching in the fields. And there was another, I don't know if it was a fire engine or what, but it had a massive floodlight on it. And that was searching as well. Anyway, we looked for ages, and it was like, we can't work out what's happening. It could be anything. So we went back to where you did the interview. And I've just remembered that I did actually ask the policeman what was happening when he said that thing to me. And he said there was kids up here with flare guns and they'd set the corn on fire. So we've got out the car and we've got all our cameras with us and we're looking up at the stars, and Sohail said he's doing that thing where he asked for a sign and all that, messing around. But something did happen. This silver light came down from the stars over the town. It must have been, 3 to 5 miles up in the air. And don't forget, we're quite high where we are anyway.
You're talking Chichester?
Yeah, you've got a triangulation point up there. And so this silver light comes down, and it has this rainbow trail behind it. And as it slows down, this green thing flies out the front of it. It's just lights, green light flies out the front of it, and it goes around along the south coast. And we're at the highest point. We've got a good clear view of this. and no one's saying a word. It was similar to what happened at Peasmore when we saw the TR3B. And at first, you're not saying anything because you just can't comprehend what you're looking at. It doesn't add up to you.
Could you just remind people what Peasmore is, and you saw a TR3B there because you'd found the Peasmore base where they make the aliens?
Deep underground military base set under a little village where David Cameron grew up and where the PGLFs were made. And it's really, really top secret. And we went there. We investigated for a whole day, and just as we were about to give up, the TR3B came over us about midnight, something like that, and it stopped. That was when I tried to film it, and the camera was on manual zoom, so I got a rubbish film of it. Worst, best view of UFO ever, and I think I messed it up. But anyway, we lost half an hour of time, and after regression, we realised that whole Delta Force thing had happened, and we got taken underground, and we were in the underground room, and that's when I got ejected.
What do you mean the Delta Force thing? And the underground room, you were in Peasmore, and you were on the gurney?
Yeah. I'm the only one out of the group that I've never had regression done. I've never been interested in it. I don't care for it. I'm just not bothered really. But James did, and Sahel did, and they had the same story. And I was on the silver table in the room.
I think just to get some context here, we are talking about the Peasmore base that Barry King reported way back in 1993. Yeah. That was the start of the bases project.
Yeah, and
you found that base and you were in it, all right?
Yeah, and we, in that video, on the Scotland video, that footage on the hour-long video where we go up to Scotland and we start off at Canterbury Ring. That's the raw footage from that day. That's everything I shot. If I'd have known what I was actually doing at the time, I would have shot a lot more stuff. Especially in Scotland. I can't believe I didn't film anything at Balmoral Castle. I had the video camera with me.
But the context of that also is that the guy who didn't want to show himself on camera was there when Kennedy was assassinated, and he did a whole lot more, including some kind of psychic army in Vietnam.
He watched, he watched the guy shoot the man that raised him like his own child. He was in the 6th floor of the depository room behind the boxes. He couldn't do anything. He was unarmed. But he told Lee Harvey something was going down. And, Lee ran up the stairs. And, he tried to stop it. And the guy standing up with the rifle swung the gun at him. And that's when Lee put his hand up and caught the butt. And that's where they got a palm print from. They were going to kill him. So he ran back down the stairs. And as he ran back down, the shots were fired. And as he came out, that was when that photo was taken. It wasn't a guilty face. That was a look of shock. And it was my friend that trained him. My friend was a teenager. He was shadow deputy director of the CIA, all top secret, because JFK only trusted one man. And that was this teenager that was so psychic. He said to him, when John said, I'm not going to win, am I going to win the election? This is not going to work. He said, we'll change parties. All you've got to do, just change parties. And he did, and he won, and it worked. And he was this right-hand man. So yeah, he was devastated. And then I've heard there's a lot more to it. I've heard the whole story, and it was it was gut-wrenching. Listening to him tell me the story, it was so sad. But then there's more to that, because that's a whole nother story, and that's his story. But the JFK thing was the fact that Michael and JFK knew that something was going to happen, but they just didn't know when. So they made a film on cine camera, and they got a load of other documents. I've got a copy of some of them somewhere. I'll have to get them to you. And I've also got a copy of...
folks, we're talking about the Kennedy assassination here, and we're talking about a man who was there, and he was in this house as well, and he was on that video that Gridkeeper gave us about a year or so ago, which I finally uploaded fairly recently with the TR3B in it.
If it wasn't for him, me and James wouldn't have gone to Balmoral. It was all him. I didn't know anything about it until he talked about it. And we were like, yeah, of course we'll go. This will be fun. And off we went. So, the tape. So they made this tape, and they got these top secret documents. And they decided to bury them, and they thought, well, let's bury them in the kitchen of JFK's house. And I do know he had a few houses. It's a well-known house. It's not the one that's been turned into a museum now. There's a different one, but it's still well-known. I can't remember what it is. I'd have to ask him again. So they dug up the floor, and they put the box under the floor, covered it in tiles. Now, by the way, JFK, when he was killed, it was to do with sucking the male principle out of the men of America by using an occult ritual with JFK's brains. That's written on my... I'm not going to explain that, but that's all written on my Facebook page. The whole of that is there on my Facebook page. I'm not going to explain it, or it'd take too long. But
and just to explain, your Facebook page is Grid Keeper, is it?
No, it's my name.
Okay, Duncan Davis.
Yes, that's it. And just there's a few things on there. But so Michael knew Bobby, Teddy, and over the years, the government, the Secret Service, whatever, they started making it out. So they started, and I just got a text. It put me off. Okay, right. So after a while, Michael couldn't. He was pushed out of everything. So he went to JFK Jr. He told him about the box. And
are you talking about box as in box near Corsham and the underground base at Corsham?
No. The box that was buried under the kitchen floor.
Okay.
With the evidence.
Just to let people know, we're live on YouTube right now, and it's very rare to get back on live. And we've got Duncan Davis, the Grid Keeper, who is the apprentice to Tim Rifat.
We will talk to Tim in a bit. Talk about Tim in a bit. We'll get this out.
But right now we're talking about James Casbolt, who's in jail down in Earlstoke, where the Nazis were there during the war, accessing the underground base and working with the British on transgenics and programmed life forms, I understand.
Mm. So I'm just going to tell you about the JFK thing, because it's important. People need to know this. And then we'll get back to just what happened with the Draconians, and then we'll move on. So, Michael told JFK Jr. about the box. So what did he do? Instead of... I'll just tell you what he did. He went to see Bill Clinton, and he told Bill Clinton what was in the box. Bill Clinton was the president of the United States at the time, and Bill Clinton owned that house. He bought it. And that was the mistake. That was the mistake that got JFK Jr. killed by the Clintons. Because that box, he then knew that JFK Jr. knew what was in that box. And he knew that it was under the house. And Bill Clinton knew that he had to get rid of it and destroy it. So he couldn't go after Michael, because Michael was hidden. He only came out when James came out on the internet. He was hidden for 40 years. So anyway, very long story short, the Clintons then popped the plane with JFK. That charge thing at the altitude, that was real. The charge split the plane. Problem solved. So there you go, mate. So anyway, back to Goodwood. So what happened was, this thing flew around the South Downs, and it came straight towards us, and it flew past us. And I talked about this in the first interview, so I won't go into it, but it flew right past us, and it was a giant green light the size of a massive van. It was totally silent. We had cameras. We couldn't react. There was no thought process available for whatever that was. It went up over the hill and down the other side. So we ran back up, and we were looking, but nothing really looked any different, and we just went. Anyway, we talked about it for a bit, and I did actually put a report on the internet about it. And then a year later, I was talking to Wilson about Goodwood. And I told him about this, and he said, I filmed it. I went, what? I said, why have we never spoken about this? And he gave me this film, and that was the film that started getting James into trouble, because James started talking. And, Wilson told us stuff. James just went straight on the internet and started talking.
Okay, what stuff? What was the stuff?
What's in the video? Because what happened was, I'll tell you what happened. The plane took off from Portsmouth. It's the headquarters of the Navy. do a whole video on that, but I don't think I will. But anyway, plane takes off with an admiral in it. He's got a physical alien in there with him, a physical grey, a proper physical grey. And he's flying towards Goodwood to escape something. As he flies over the hill, this other spacecraft, shoots at it. The plane drops out of the sky and lands on the ground. The plane's in the video. You can see it in the video on YouTube. And so you see the plane, and you see 3 people standing by the plane. James always said that was me, Sahel, and Matt, and we pulled the alien out of the plane, and that's why we can't. There was a weird thing with the policeman, like it was at Balmoral. Remember, I never used to remember anything when we lost time, but I'd always known we'd lost time. So yeah, he says that we pulled the alien out. It wouldn't surprise me. It looks like us in the video anyway, if you look at it close up. And then what happens, you see the fire brigade standing by the fire engine, but there's these other things, but they look like firemen, and their heads light up like they're wearing helmets, but they're not. And they walk over to this thing, they pick it up off the ground, and as they do that, their hands light up. They go over to where this big beam of light is. They stand under the beam of light, which could be from the green thing that flew past us or whatever. And this thing just sort of comes back to life, and they walk back with it past the aeroplane, and then the video stops. If you watch the video on YouTube, there's some still pictures at the beginning. You see the light that flew past me. He filmed that. He's never shown me the video of it moving, but only there's a still picture on it. And after that, you'll see a 30-foot tall etheric alien standing up, looking over the whole scene, holding onto a ray gun. There, you can see it. It's really obvious. It's obvious when I tell you it's there. So, you know, we had this evidence, and there's a still picture of those things standing under the light. And when you zoom in, they've got wings like Batman. They've got little horns on their heads. Their proportions are different. They're quite tall. And I took a glossy picture of that and gave it to James. James then shows it to Branton. You Google Branton Angel Fire, and you find his website, and he talks all about loads of ancient stuff, and he talks about the Dulce, this Dulce man. If you could scroll down a bit, it says Gridkeeper, and then it says that it's got a picture. The picture's on his website, and he does a description that James gave him about it. And when James went to America, and by the way, a lot of people believe he was never in the NSA and everything. I stayed with James when he came back, and I saw his child's birth certificate, everything. I saw all the proof he was in the military. So he ended up in the room.
Yeah, but you're saying James was in the NSA when?
I can't remember how long ago it was. I don't know, whenever it happened. I can't remember. I paid too much attention. So I didn't agree with a lot of things. I'm friends with James, but I just wanted to be clear, I never agreed with everything he said or did. We can go through that another time. So he's in a room now with Majestic 12, and it was a woman who was in charge of it, and he gave this picture. He just randomly handed it to her. And he said to me, she had a pen in her hand, and she put it in her mouth, and she's looking at this picture, and she snapped it. And she looked at him and said, where did you get this from? And he said, Gridkeeper. She said, no one in the world has ever produced a picture like this. She said they're winged draconians, like talked about in the Old Testament. And I said to James, I think it was when he came back, I got him to, I don't know, it was either before he went or afterwards, but I got him to remote view the picture. I got him to keep the picture for a whole week, so that we to remote view it. And that's when he said he thought it was me standing by the plane. And he came back with one word. This is what I was telling you the other day. And that word he gave me was Hatton. Hatton. And he said, I've never heard of that word. Does it mean anything to you? And I said, yeah, it means everything to me. It's Hatton, the author of the Phoenix Journals, which I read a lot of them 15 years ago. I thought some of them were great. This is the science of the cosmos. It's not all necessarily correct facts, because it's all matrix science. It's all physics within the matrix, and there's more outside of that. But it's the biggest eye opener you can get about anything. The Phoenix Journals, and they were written by Hatton, and he's a winged draconian. There used to be a Wikipedia page about him, and so yeah, it's interesting that there's the draconian thing, because I've been receiving information lately about the draconians not being happy with Tim. Tim's never discussed the alien thing with me. It's like he can't be bothered half the time. He's got too much other things to think about. But there was a weird some weird things being said lately. Well, not maybe weird's not the right word, but Tim's brought forward some more technology, the Nephilim ascension technology, and this ascension technology that affects the actual Nephilim body beings is going to change within the Matrix. Don't forget there's many other overlays and underlays of the Matrix being written by Tim that are taking over the Archon's version of the Matrix that's destroying everything. And I've just lost my train of thought then. My own fault.
No, it's okay. You're talking about...
That's too many things.
You mentioned the Archon Matrix there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
Total
Ascension engine.
yeah.
That's it. The Ascension engine. I know I've done it because I wasn't going to talk about this thing till later. So that's going to affect all the reptiloids. So this whole thing about aliens, they're either good or bad. Yeah, because they can't create reality like humans. The way we create the collapse the quantum wave function by observing something.
Yeah, this is really important in comparison to the whole alien story. What the humans can do and why the aliens want it.
No, that thing of collapsing the quantum wave function, it's what I was talking about, Tim, the other day. It's the greatest paradox of all times, you know. You talk about the Yalta Bayoff, the demiurge coming out of the void of darkness. What observed it to make it happen? That spark. What observed the spark to make it appear? You know. But I can give you the answer to that, and it's insane. But we'll get onto that in a minute. But I've jumped the gun a bit. Let me just look at my notes. James. Yeah. In
the chat room, they've got Manhattan Project. Does that?
Oh, the Manhattan Project. Oh, that's Tim's. No, that's Tim. Tim, I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
That's Tim's department. He knows more about that than I do. You know, I know more about Montauk Project and stuff like that, and the Monster of the Ids. But I'm not talking about that because that's explained on my Facebook page as well in great detail. Monster of the Id. And if no one knows exactly what the Monster of the Id is, it's the subconscious part of you that can run around sort of inside space or whatever and create havoc in the real world. And that's your subconscious mind. And if you watch the old film...
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet. You know, it's a low-budget film, but...
It's a heck of a good film, and
if you want to understand it, it's fully explained in it. You'll get it, you know. And that's what failed the Montauk Project. They used the Sage radar to enhance the psychic capabilities of the psychics, and they enhanced the Monster of the Id, and it killed them. I don't know exactly how that part of it worked.
That's what we call Junior. That's what Preston Nichols calls Junior. Is that right?
Yeah, but if you watch Stranger Things, that little boy, and he sees the giant spider, that you know, that's to do with Monster of the Id, and you see all the other monsters in it, and the Archon, and all. Yeah, it's all in there and stuff.
But where is that exactly? Where do we see that?
Oh, Netflix,
and those giant spiders which were put around.
Yeah,
these big spiders.
You know. So I was going to talk about. I want to say something there. I'm not going to talk about light workers a lot because that's the hard one to talk to. Because no light workers ever want to listen to what I say anymore. Even though I used to be a pioneer of the light working movement, because I'm saying opposite things, they're not listening to me, and I'm thinking, doesn't anyone even want to know why I would say the opposite of the things I used to say?
Well, why did you explain that, Duncan? Because the light workers need to be told what's going on.
Briefly, yeah. Everything we do to do with everything everyone learns from light working comes from these spirits and the archons and all sorts of things, and all they care about is feeding themselves. And the best way to do that is to get light workers to believe all the things they believe about God and creation in such a way that when the way they pray and do everything, it's inverted inside space. So all those things you'd like, best example, healers. A lot of healers give out energy for free by healing people. That's the wrong way to go, because you're giving away energy. It's like a cosmic crime. So you're bleeding in it free. You're giving away your free will in a way. And maybe that energy will go to that person. It will help heal them in some sort of way. But energy has to be replaced with something else. So if you give all your energy to someone, it's the same with church healers, healing with your hands and that, yeah? The opposite comes back to you, and you'll age a bit more. You'll get more opportunities to get ill, you know? And then you might get really ill as a light worker, and you'll go to your big clan of 10,000 light workers in the group, and you'll ask them all to heal you. Well, that's 10,000 people giving up their free will to you, and that's another cosmic crime. But that is a whole nother 2-hour, 4-hour, 10-hour interview. I was talking about all that. But I will talk about the 7th chakra. We're all taught, and Tim explained this in the chakra video on YouTube on our 100-part series of health and beauty, and living to 400 years old and anti-aging. And he demonstrates it very clearly. And if you're raising energy up to the 7th chakra, you've got to learn the Fibonacci series. A lot of people talk about the Fibonacci series like, isn't it great and wonderful? It's all part of creation. Yeah, that'd be the Matrix then, that's bleeding you and killing you off and doesn't care about you. So if you raise energy up to the 7th chakra, you look on the Fibonacci series. If 7 doesn't fit into the Fibonacci series and you want to work it out within, say, the Matrix, Kabbalah, occult, whatever, you count along, and you count 1 as 1, 1 as 2, 2 as 3, 3 as 4, 5 is 6, and so on. So you go 7 along, and the 7th is called the term. So the 7th term of the Fibonacci series is 13. Well, within the Matrix, that's evil. So you're opening up your crown chakra for more possession and more evil being brought into your life. And people will say, oh no, I'm not possessed. I've got no attachments. Someone's removed all the attachments, yeah, but they can't see the one that was placed in there when you were born. And that's the zombie installation. That's Zion. People don't understand what Zion really is. It's an installation in the Matrix so that when you're born and they cut the umbilical cord, that's when and people who know Carlos Castaneda will understand what I'm saying. If not, go and read Carlos Castaneda, The Fire from Within. You've got a gap over your belly button that connects your physical body to your biofield and all the energy body layers that are held within it, like the onion layers. Well, that rolls out. That's the rolling force pushes that through the gap when your umbilical cord is cut, and it aligns you with the megaverse. Now, at the same time, just like when your soul was waiting to come into the baby in the mother, at the same time, a parasite from within the archonic dark matter matrix is waiting to be plugged into your head. So, and that's the Zion. That's the zombie installation operating negatively. Now, all the light workers will tell you that's their higher self, and they all channel through it, and I'm going, yeah, that ain't you. And then you grow up your whole life and you're told to go within. Listen to your inner self. Go within and listen to the child. That's Zion. That's not you. Those aren't your thoughts. And people struggle with their thoughts, and we're told, oh, it's the monkey brain. And you can be sitting there with the person you love, and you can be thinking the most horrendous thoughts about them. And by the way, even though those aren't your thoughts, that the gift of humans is that you can love and hate at the same time. Therefore, you're a quantum being, because you're constantly can collapse the quantum wave function to produce reality. Whereas we talk about aliens and angels and stuff. Oh, they're either good, they're either bad. Yeah, they can't do what we do, and they all want that because it's such a unique and gifted way of obtaining energy within the universe to create with sublime good. And sublime good, there's very little of. Anyway, I'm jumping the gun there, and I'll come back to that. So, where were we? 7th chakra. What was I talking about?
You're doing this 7th chakra, but also the spiders and stuff like that.
Oh, so the inner self.
Yeah.
And, and this is why, people say, oh, Tim's bad. Listen to the way he talks to people. And I'm like, oh, my God, you not understand what you've all done. Everyone in the West. And I mean, everyone. You're all damned, and Tim's going to talk to you like that because he's trying to get it through to you. He's not going to pamper you with cotton wool because there isn't enough time. Every single person is born with these things in them. And they make you become damned because they make you bow to the authority, just like in the They Live. And so, how do you become a damned soul? Well, for a start, when you're born, it happens pretty quickly because your parents sign a birth certificate. There you go, damned, you're in debt. You're in an energy debt cycle now. Then what happens? Okay, you're going to go to prep school, or, the little toddler school, whatever. Okay, you're being enrolled, your parents have done it, you're damned again, you're being forced knowledge that's bad for your soul. Okay? And you're doing that, you're not fighting, you're not complaining, your parents own you, they're giving up your free will for you, hyper-infinity. So it happens again. Then you go on to the next school, and then you start thinking you're thinking for yourself, I'm going to get a job. If I do this, you start working out your tax, how much I'm going to give the government. This is what I can do. I'm going to have money. I will be able to do this. Yeah, but you're limited by authority. So you go out into the world, I can vote now. They teach you how to vote. I'll go and vote. Strike against your soul. You're damned. And it goes on and on.
What exactly does being damned mean, Duncan?
Hang on. You're watching Katy Perry. You're loving Katy Perry. But multiple damnation of your soul. It means you keep reincarnating to pay off that debt of energy that you owe, that you accumulate in one lifetime. And because it's not just one debt, it's multiple debts. Each multiple debt adds up to a reincarnation. So how can you ever pay it off? And all the while the Archon Matrix is there, they're laughing at everyone. They're laughing at everyone because they've got it. They've got it sussed. This is how they're going to bleed all the energy out of her, And it's, I could go into for hours about this, but we could do this as a separate interview. Yeah, again, like a few other things,
Well, I've got the Supernatural Spirit Magic School up.
Have you?
At the moment, if you want to give a brief mention on that. We'll talk about it in detail later, and also we'll do a more Q&A later, but somebody's asked about the sword.
Sword?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Who is he?
I know, what sword?
Liddy Saninen has asked about the sword.
Yeah, that could mean anything. I don't know. Which sword? My family's sword?
God knows.
Michael's sword?
A bit more about the Manhattan. There's quite a few questions, but while we're doing it, we're doing a commercial now.
Oh, about Supernatural Spirit Magic School?
Yeah.
The real Hogwarts.
Commercial break. Here it is.
Alright, what we've done... right. There's a lot of occult magic going on in the world. Everyone knows that. Most people don't understand it. People that do it don't even understand what they're doing because it's all filled with booby traps, yet again, to damn man's soul. So, say you join a secret society or a mystery school and you want to get up the top and you're using Kabbalah and the Tree of Life and you've got to climb through all the bits up and down and go up to the top. We want to become Magister, you've got to come all the way back down. You lose your soul, you get possessed. It's all pretty bad. So what we've done is perfected some of Tim's psychotronic crystal technology so that we've bundled up every type of magic ever known to man, past, present and future, and I mean all of it. Atlantis, everything. Egyptian, Babylonian, the whole lot. Voodoo, whatever, and we've packaged it up into one little neat bundle, which is $600. And for that, you get a magic wand, a crystal ball, 34 clear quartz crystals to protect you from the Matrix, because 34 is the escape number in the Fibonacci to actually truly escape the Matrix, which we can talk about in a bit. And you get 3 smoky quartz crystals, and that's $600. And the beauty of this technology is that you don't have to do all this occult magic ritual of going through the levels and everything, because all you're doing is feeding the dark matter spirits. And
explain about this dark matter spirits. It's all over the place. And why are they here?
The loosh. Why are they here? Because they're feeding like everyone else. But within the dark matter realm, you've got a strange matter realm, and they're the Rothschild Archons. All the Archons on the planet are have possessed the physical bodies. They're strange matter beings. And then you've got the dark matter beings. And I mean, I'm getting a text message. 360i in Brighton. Oh yeah. We'll talk about that as well when Tim does the magic. So the dark matter realm is the realm that possessed this realm. Long story short, they had several realms. They went through them all and destroyed them all. They managed to get through to this one. So it's like another dimension. If you think, what's the dark matter in the megaverse? 96 something percent. There's not much light. There's not much good either. Good is created by using evil to destroy evil. It's another secret of the Illuminati. So they use all the occult rituals to bypass that, and they just, because they damned us all, they punish us at the same time, and they get all the good things, and we still get all the shit. That's why I published the Abraham ritual. I've got no apologies for doing that.
Now, what's the significance of the Abraham ritual?
Well, everyone thinks I'm hating on Jews. Like I said, I'm part Jews. My cousins are going mental about that and think I've lost the plot. It doesn't matter that they're Jews. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, Chinese, whatever. It's the fact that they're the pinnacle of Satanism. Someone's got to be the pinnacle of Satanism. It could have been anyone, and that's who I would have talked about in those posts. And the Abraham ritual is the ritual with Abraham and Raziel. The archangels wanted more energy from Earth, and they used humans to do it. So they gave Abraham the secret of turning man into goyim to parasitically feed from them to get all the good things. And Raziel told him how to live for a long time, how to stay young and all this. And then that's why you've got the things in the Bible that everyone argues about, like how long everyone lived to so-and-so begot so-and-so and lived to 300, 400, 800 and whatever. And, that's how they did it. Exactly how they did it. And then you've got that ritual that then turns, you've got the Sanhedrin Illuminati to do with Solomon's Temple. I'm not going to go into that. It's the Freemasons post on my Facebook page. And these posts I'm talking about, they've never been written in the West. They were put on servers in Russia for certain reasons. And I rewrote some of them and edited them, and I put them up on Facebook. Some of them were removed by Facebook. I got Facebook to put them back up.
Now, how does that work? And are those things you refer to in Russia? Yeah. Is that on Tim Rifat's site? He's got 2 or 3 sites.
Yeah. I'm not going to give out that stuff at the moment because we're focusing on the magic school. But yeah, Tim does have a lot of websites. You can go to timrifat.com. But yeah, Tim, I don't want to talk. I'm not talking about the side of Tim that's doing all the mental things at the moment. I did that in the last interview. But Tim is. If anyone wants to know how militant Tim is about destroying Satanism, just go and Google Kalki, 10th avatar of Vishnu, and you might get it. So,
what is that again? The 10th avatar of what?
Vishnu.
Ishnus.
Vishnu.
Vishnus. Vish, yeah.
No, Vishnu.
Okay.
No one believes me that he's Kalki. Well, they're going to find out because he isn't stopping. So, I forgot what I was talking about again now.
Well, somebody's holy chimp has said, what about dolphin ball sweat? What the hell is that? Or is that just a...
Don't know. I don't know. Hang on, I've got to try and remember what we were saying.
Yeah, Brandon Young has the great Brandon, good guy. Maybe we'll have him on talking about complex number space.
Yeah, you've not interviewed Brandon yet.
I have, but not on complex number space.
Because he knows he's a...
Could you explain complex number space briefly while we're on it?
No. In the videos on YouTube. And I don't want to talk about maths, because I'm not a maths man. I'm not, honestly. I hate maths.
Brandon's talking about the Hindu reincarnation of Kalki.
English literature. Oh, we were talking about Kalki and Tim, weren't we? Oh, and Tim's... Yes. Oh, Tim's technology. He's going to wipe out Satanism. I'm just going to say what he's going to do is Kalki. He's going to wipe out Satanism. He's already burning the ADR. Now, the ADR is the name of your matrix. And all the stuff we're talking about is what David Icke can't tell you because he doesn't know. No one knows. We're giving you beyond the 33rd degree of Freemasonry secrets now, which is why people are going, no, it's not real. You can't do that. Well, how would you know that? Well, of course we know that, because it's what we do. And we're giving you the 34th degree and above secrets of Illuminism, because those secrets are what start to free your mind from the ADR. You're still trapped in it, your soul's still in it, and all that other stuff, but you know, it can set you on a different path. And Tim's technology you can jump out of the matrix with Tim's technology. It's incredible. And we were talking about the zombie installation. You know, Tim's technology burns I'm going to use my potty language, burns the fuck out of those parasites. And that Zion one that's installed in the top of your head, it took me 1.5 years to burn mine away. You know,
you're talking about the Zion parasite in your head. All of the people in the West got
one
it.
that's got a nurse, and the nurses are connected to 9 Archons for the whole of Western humanity. But it happens in the whole world, but there's different variations. And the Chinese, they can remove theirs because their matrix is different. It's the old one. That's another story. But these parasites in your head have got nurses that nurse them all as groups, and they're all connected to the 9 Archons that all the light workers look up to as the Council of 9. I used to look up to them when I was doing all that stuff with Ra and the Elohim, mate.
Is that also to do with the 9 that Jerry Geller talks about, and also the Council?
Blair, you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
So why do we take the piss out of Uri Geller? We know all about him. We mess up his...
Is that a logical conclusion?
Yeah, we mess up his...
As in a Spock logical conclusion?
Yeah, you remember when he tries to get England to win the World Cup every time, and he'll go on This Morning telly and get everyone to touch the football. And we know what's happened. We know that the British government have paid the Israelis to get him to get England to win the World Cup. And I'm sorry, a lot of football fans that won't like this, but we always let them get pretty close. Well, Tim does it, and he will drop them. He'll drop them at the right time. And then he told me last time France were going to win and how he was going to do it, and I didn't do anything. I should have put the bet on. Just the same as the way he dropped Chelsea. Didn't I talk about that in the interview we did last time?
I think you've told me about it, but explain how Premiership football and the World Cup and all that stuff is a psychic warfare with Tim Rifat and the Russians and the Israelis.
So what Tim does, you know, everyone says, oh, Tim's taking energy from here, and he can't do that. No, it's already being done, and it's already being done, taken from everyone and then used against you. What we do, we bypass that energy. No, we re-divert that energy to somewhere else. We take it away from the ADR, away from the Archons and the elite and certain people, and we divert it to our technology that we then use to destroy Satanism in certain ways, to create good, to start changing the world. And it's that simple. But you know, Tim's militant about this. He's it. This is it. We're at the mega point. We want to go into the alpha. We ain't messing around. Yeah, there's a lot of years of hardship to get through, and you know, it takes a long time for the ADR to burn. But we're not sitting around for another 1,000 years going, oh, is everyone going to wake up?
So what do you mean by the omega point? Explain that, and why is it so critical now?
Because you get everything's in cycles, isn't it? So you get the unit. Light workers will know about this. Well, a lot of people will. The 206 million year spin of the universe, with the galaxy spinning, rotating, and this is on the x-axis, isn't it? X, Y. Yeah. So that rotates 26,000 years, and then our solar system does 12,500 years, and that's only rough. Then it's not exactly that. Well, the 206 million years is the alpha and the omega point. There's massive change that happens, and we've all, you know, everyone was always told for years, oh, it means the end of the world. No, it's the opposite. It's always the opposite, and that's where we are. And this omega point was quite a special one because of what had happened with the strange matter and the dark matter realms hijacking into this one, or plugging themselves into this one. You know, there's been cosmic wars going on that some people will be aware, shaman type people, but many won't. And the greatest enemy of the Archons has always been the blue pulsars, and they are dark matter beings. They support us. They helped Tim to get where he is today, and they destroyed the Archon main hives within the Archon realms, and they're now joined to this timeline. And this timeline, you could say, is what Tim said, is their last bastion. So if we get this job done, everything's saved, nothing will be destroyed. The multiverse won't be affected. All the Archons and the dark matter beings that we're destroying, a lot of the smaller ones we do wipe off the face of existence. But the larger ones, we don't destroy them. We move them. And we move them into such a place that it's a different world for them, and it's a matrix that we created for them. And what happens to them in the matrix, I'm not going to go into detail. Some of it isn't very nice. But that energy that's created, and this is evil unto evil to create good, and that goes on for an eternity. There's no way out once they're in there. And that energy is rerouted into Earth. And we then use that energy with our technology. We then open up to humanity with more secrets, and we teach everyone the real secrets of life that no one seems to know about, and especially the magic, And it's the same with the defunct Illuminati that are losing their power now, and everyone else, and everyone that's done all this bad stuff. It's like, do you want to be re-educated and live in this better world because we've got it sussed? Or do you just want to carry on what you're doing, and when all the cataclysms, you will be the ones that will bring on these cataclysms that are all destined to happen, and you're the ones that will all die. And what will be left are all the people that are savvy enough to actually build a better world and not actually destroy it, and there'll be more control of all this supernatural spirit stuff. And it starts with the supernatural magic school. And Tim, I'm not going to talk about a lot of what he's talking about because we want it to be quite a surprise and have quite an impact. But he can tell you all about the spirits and how to control them. And that's the problem. And it's like when you become a Freemason and you talk to a lot of them, oh, it's not about that, it's not about this. No, it is. You just haven't been told. Any Freemason that walks into a Masonic lodge is immediately possessed, by a demon. And, they don't know about this stuff. A lot of them don't know. And I've tried talking to some Freemasons lately, and all I got was my life threatened. In fact, only one has come back to talk to me nicely. And I'm like, I'm not against you. I've got a family history of Freemasons. My granddad was the Lord Worshipful Master of the Royal Masons. And I learnt a lot from that, from my family tree and information and what was left. And I've never, I know it's bad stuff, but why not try and understand it first, rather than just hate something because you think it's bad? And I've understood it, and I've understood that the Masonic lodges are the connections between the ADR matrix and our physical world. Like the plugs, if you say. So as the ADR is weakening from all the work that Tim and his Nephilims do to do that, it weakens. And what you'll see in towns and cities is more skyscraper and office blocks being built.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, and these are also
everywhere.
Plugs. Yeah, these are also plugs to anchor the ADR into the Western reality as it's weakening. They're building more and more, especially in London, And what you want to do to suss it out, you either need Tim standing next to you, and he'll just tell you exactly what it is, or you can look at the measurement of the height of the building in meters, and then add up the numbers. Get that number and find it on the Fibonacci term chart. A lot of the time, it will add up to 9. And that's the Archon, the Council of 9. And these buildings, you want to look at what they're made of, because they're obelisks. HSB Tower is the best one to look at for this in London, really, because it really is an obelisk shape. And when you look at that tower, go inside it, have a look. I've worked in the basement, and it's full of marble and granite of the most expensive kind. And you think, you see this in a lot of posh hotels and a lot of buildings everywhere all over the world, especially in China. And you think, oh, they're just showing off because they've got money. No, they know about psychotronic generators, and they're using the crystals, the quartz crystal in the stone, to allow dark matter entities to come through and possess everyone. And, you know, the squeezing of quartz produces the electricity. Well, quartz in granite and stone is constantly squeezed. So you can, you know, stare. So, yeah, and these dark matter spirits, it depending on the type of spirit, what it wants to feed off you. It'll either come from a water pool or a monument or an obelisk and all that stuff, or, you know, a war memorial. I think they're some of the worst ones. And people don't know, and they all say, "Oh, respect the dead, they fought for us." No, they didn't fight for you. They fought for the Rothschilds to collect death force, so they could create 100% probability from the force released from all the death when the biofield gets released, and that force is given off, which is the 2 grams to 2 ounces weight, and they collect that to make all their Illuminati evil doings and manifestations in the world actually happen, because you generate 100% probability, and those people that went off to war signed their souls away, and it's like, oh my God, you know, you can't tell people. Most people don't want to hear that. I don't talk about it much.
Yeah, there's been a question there. Are you the grid keeper in the John Walston videos? Yes, you are. Grid keeper. And Duncan Davis is the grid keeper. That's what's on the screen.
Bless John, I've worked with him for years, but it's hard.
And also, just while interrupting, Dave Marrow is sending a lot of stuff on the chat room. Good luck, Dave.
So, yeah, me and Wilson, we started working together in the year 2000, and I knew what he was filming and stuff. And, you know, we were born in the same town, you know, and it wasn't until 2006, 2007, I said, look, let's just put this out there and see what happens. And we just went for it. And it's so hard to get anywhere with his work because of the involvement with the aliens, the greys, the mind control, the darkest mind control you could ever imagine. You know, some of the stuff he was filming, the starships with the grey alien factories and stuff like that.
You're talking John Walston here?
Yeah, that's what some of those things are he's filming. People go, oh, it's not real. No, it's real. And all he's doing, he's looking at the main stars. Those lights, they're proper stars that everyone knows the names of. And what he's doing is taking the light away from the star. And you see what's really there. You know, I don't know if the stars are real or not, but that's what's in the light, those things. That's why no one else can see them.
So how does he subtract the stars' light? How does he do that?
It's the one thing he'd never show me. He used to have a shroud over the end of the telescope. And I knew it was real because when I was with him, he'd put the camera on the back and he'd take the tape out and you could still see it. And I remember the first time he ever did that, standing on top of Goodwood. And I paced around for about 20 minutes in a circle and went through half a packet of cigarettes. It just spun my head. It's like the moment when you see the quiet UFOs fly straight past you off the ground. Like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and you just can't compute what you're looking at because you've been so brainwashed not to believe it's real.
Explain that again about the
one I did earlier about in Goodwood, the green light. Yeah, that's the green light, you know. You know, people find it hard to believe things, and if they didn't have a Zion parasite in them, everyone would be able to think for themselves, and you'd see a lot more things. You'd have a different perspective on everything, you know. And anyone that wants these parasites gone, you know, it's $600. People go, oh, you're just in it for the money.
Yeah, well, to be fair, there are a number of people on the chat room saying, oh, you're just in it for the money. So explain all that.
Fuck them. I don't give a shit if the people say that, you know, because okay, so Tim has this technology. People are going, oh, you should give it out. That's the right thing to do. Well, hang on a minute. You've given away your free will to this whole matrix system, so you're damned. And that's what I'm saying there is a small example of all the other things that you give away. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. You know, and they're saying, oh, but we should have that. Really? Why would Tim do that? He's total intent. He's a cosmic assassin. He's here to get rid of evil. You've been made evil. You know? So, listen up. He's offering you a chance to get out of that. $600. No, I'm not. No, I'm not giving him my money. He's trying to rip everyone off for money. You shouldn't do it for money. Well, $600 to get you out of the Matrix, undamn your soul. Yeah, that's pretty cheap. You know, I think $500,000 is pretty cheap. Why can't Tim give it away for free? The same way, a healer can't go and heal the world for free, because it will kill them. It will bring them trouble, bad luck, all sorts. The wrath of trouble. So, what's in money? It's not just about money. It's the energy that's in the money. That energy in that money is complex number energy. Now, for Tim to put that torsion field into a crystal for you, he has to go and collect energy from somewhere and then give you energy. Do you think he's just going to go and work for nothing? Not only has he gone to work for it and make it for you, he's selling it for $600. People won't see it. And I say to those people, well, you're stuck in a loop with that zombie installation inside your head telling you that what you can and can't see is real. And then people are going to hate on me for saying that. I don't care. You know, wake the fuck up. You know, and this leads me on to the next bit. We're at that time in human evolution where everyone's right. You know, everyone's right, but really we're all wrong. I'm still wrong about a lot of things because Tim's got teaching me so much. You know, it's unbelievable. But you know, you go into any group at the moment, you know, those posts I've posted on Facebook, everyone's arguing about God and stuff now in a lot of places. And you'll see parallels of that. And that's good. It's good. Stuff needs to be thrashed out, but people need to realise they're all telling everyone they're right. And that leaves me with a really hard task, because I've been, you know, I've such a background. And then meeting Tim, and Tim showing me who I've always been and what I am, and that he was the one that made me that way anyway. It's just made me think of another can of worms. I just got sidetracked.
Well, I put the supernatural spirit
anyway,
back up if you want to talk about that. Commercial time.
Supernatural spirit.
Yeah, the real Hogwarts. For those who've just joined us,
we're just going to teach.
Let's have a commercial break.
We're going to teach secrets of the world, secrets of Illuminism, and the point is, if everyone knows the secrets of magic, how can the Illuminati that's perishing away now because they're losing their power, if you know what their magic's about, how can they do anything against you in a magical way? And if you've got these crystals and you're protected from possession and all that other stuff, doesn't that level the playing field? I think so. And we're going to be here for a long time, and I'm not going to live in a world like this forever. Even if I was with this attitude, and someone said to me, "Oh, you could be an Archon, you could get all the power in the world just by fucking over everyone like they are," I'd be like, "Well, what's the fun in that? Where's the fun factor? The world's shitty. Yeah, you can go off and find fun, but it's not a fun world. I wouldn't generalise it as a fun world anymore. And we like having fun. Tim likes having fun, and we want to build a world with magic, where things happen that blow your mind every day, and it's fun." You know, but we need to pour sublime good into it. So we need to teach people what's evil and what's not, and that's a really hard task. And you know, that's why I was talking about the seventh chakra and the damning of souls, and that's what we were talking about when I lost my train of thought, wasn't it? All the way humans are damned, and you know.
Yeah, so that's the commercial over. So all that about damned in the West.
Why can't give his technology out for free? You know, he's the cosmic assassin. He's total intent. He's the hidden part of God that God can't see. And you go, "Oh, don't talk about God like that. God's an arsehole, everyone." You know, yeah.
Now, hold on here. Yeah. You're dealing with some...
I'm generalising. I'm not going to go into one because I'd have to go through the 72 names of God, explain to everyone who Jehovah is.
Well, why don't we just get it...
Then we'd have to talk about Divine Feminine and the Shekinah, and then we'll go into the Tree of Life, Michael, Raphael, and all that stuff. And I'd have to explain to you how they fucked you all over, big time, to get all the good things. And I just want everyone to know that you've all been fucked, and you really need to listen to us. You know?
Well, how does a devout Christian or people of a devout nature in those religions, how do they deal with any of this stuff? They just run like mad, run away.
sit on the sideline and just keep an eye on us, because you just watch how we change and watch how people around us will change and the things we're doing already, and the things, and people said to me, why did you lot put Trump into power through remote influencing? Well, hang on a minute. Who wants Hillary Clinton in power? I'm not going to...
Well, there were a lot of people. There's quite a lot of criticism about the having to buy this stuff for $600.
I don't care. I'm glad. I don't think that's healthy, mate, because these people are going to see in the future because this is not one of those things where we say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. In 20 years' time, everyone's still talking about it and nothing ever happens. A bit like arresting the cabal. Okay, it never happened, never quite happened. I want to hear about the cabal being arrested when it's happening. Well, our technology is working. There's people using it. There's some massive people on the planet using it for a lot of great things. And, all I'll say is some people are never going to accept this, and that's fine. It's not a problem. I've not got a problem with that. I'm not here to convince anyone. I'm just telling you what I know. And those people, maybe some of them will regret it in 20, 30, 40 years' time when we're still here and they're all dying off. I don't know. But that's all part of that. Maybe that's just part of their journey and a different perspective. But I just think it would be a bit sad if some people got really, really old and they suddenly changed their mind. And by that time, we've ramped it up so much that I'll turn around to you and say, no, we're too far gone now. You can have that crystal for $100,000. Now, a load of people are going to jump on me for saying that as well.
They're jumping on you right now, Duncan.
Oh, good. I'm provoking people. Good, because provocation is what all of this stuff needs, mate. All right, I'm going to go one further. The best service that we sell in a psychotronic crystal actually costs $100,000. We'll give you a quartz crystal that we bought for 50p. 50p, and you can have that for $100,000. Oh, people are going to hate me for saying that. But what do you get inside it?
Okay, let's get things into perspective in terms of order. Where do people start on this, and how much does it cost? One little stage by stage, and we've talked a lot about the crystals and about things like that. We talked about briefly at the beginning, James and the crash, the UFO retrieval crash.
Talk about the Mandela Effect.
Yeah, why don't we talk about the Mandela Effect? And why is it called Mandela?
Because Nelson Mandela died on a certain date, and it was documented in several places, and then he died, and then he was alive, and he died a few years later, and it's caused some confusion. And it's memories, some people remember it one way, some people remember it another way. When it changes to the most recent version of the effect, mostly the younger generation, 40s and below, 50s, some 60s, older, it's not everyone, but it's more the younger version. A lot of older people will remember him dying on the first date. And then you get the clash of, I'm right, no, I'm right. Let's all argue about it, instead of accepting that two people have two perspectives on the same thing in the same timeline, and asking the question, okay, why is that happening? And stop fucking arguing about it. That's just stupid. So, Mandela Effect.
There's the thing about the Bible. There's the thing about Star Wars.
I love the Bible one. But anyway...
and does this affect the grid matrix, which some people call the flat Earth?
Because what are you all seeing on YouTube? Oh, it's CERN. All these videos, it's CERN, it's CERN, it's CERN. I'm a secret scientist. I've escaped from CERN. I'm telling you it's CERN and this, that, and the other. Mate, you ain't telling us shit. Where's the science behind it? Where's any of it? Nothing. CERN's trying to do something else, but Tim would have to talk to you about that because he knows a lot more about it than I do. So, Mandela Effect. So, if you produce a technology and release it into the public after 2012, what's going to start happening? You're going to start weakening the matrix.
A future ripple effect backwards.
Well, it's our Nephilim technology. So So we're what we call burning the ADR, the Anglo-Demonic reality, which is the Archon hold on reality. And as that burns, it weakens. But it weakens, and I don't know why. I can't give you the why as to this. Tim could. But it weakens the fabric of the ADR. And there's certain things that have been built in the ADR over the past, in the industrial electronic revolution or whatever, and those creations within the ADR start to weaken. And they suddenly change. And if it isn't that, it's Tim using his I to the I and I to the minus I technology with the Archon diagram, which is the north, east, south, west, and east is you go into hell space, which is occultists use. They go into hell space. They walk out with a damn soul and a trap soul and all that stuff, because that's how it works. Our technology bypasses all that. Just to sidetrack, our technology bypasses all these child rituals as well. You don't have. We channel energy different ways, and you eradicate all that, and you can get the same power. So that's why we say earlier, we're not against the Masons, we're not against secret societies or mystery schools, but we're giving them all an opportunity to be re-educated. You've got to turn your back on Satanism or feel the wrath of Kalki. That's it. So Mandela Effect. So what Tim? Here's an example. Well, here's an example, and then I'll talk about some of my favourite examples. So this is a Tim Rifat example. So Tim Rifat invents, when he was in Vietnam last year, he invents a psychic assault weapon. And this is a weapon that you use against your enemies and in cyberspace and anyone that's out to get you. So you can then attack them with 100% probability and effect. And he called it the AK-47 psychic assault weapon. I won't go to the details because it's pretty hectic. But so he used this psychic assault weapon so that any, like the satanic enemies, you can use it retroactively, which means you can jump up using light. You do a light in the third dimension, and you connect that through like a light wormhole to the fifth dimension, which affects gravity. Therefore, you can move forwards and backwards in time. That's for me, that's the basic explanation of a true time traveler. So you can move backwards in time and affect the past. Now, using Tim's technology in the Archon diagram, especially if you've got the super soldier service and you've got the assemblage point moved into the Metatronic state, you can erase the past or you can add to the past. And it's the same with yourself. So you can erase illness from your body, and you can add archetypes to your body and things like that. It's brilliant, perfect technology in its perfection. So Tim wanted to take his psychic assault weapon back to the past to gain more energy, to use it more effectively. We took it back to 1939. So that was about the beginning of the Second World War. So he took it back, and that is when The Wizard of Oz was made or released. And
Sorry, are you saying The Wizard of Oz is Tim Rifat?
No.
Because he's in a lot of movies that we know.
Tim's the most famous bad guy in movies in living history, and no one knows it. But he took that assault weapon back to 1939, the time of when The Wizard of Oz was released. And if you now look in the Wizard of Oz film, the Scarecrow's holding a gun. That's why people will go, what is he talking about? Some people will get this, some people will just think that's messed up.
So what did the Wizard of Oz originally hold? And is there any film anywhere where that's still there?
I'm sure he's in other scenes with the oil can. I haven't watched it back, but you can see a scene. It's on YouTube. People are uploading it from VHS, filming it with their phones off the telly, and it's a gun. It's clearly a gun. You know, and you ask anyone, you can ask anyone that grew up with that film if they ever saw the Scarecrow with a gun. I've not met one person that said that he did. You know, So you can erase the past, and
But because our memories aren't in this dimension, we can remember it the way it was. But if we look at it within this reality, you'll see the way it is now. Is that right?
and there's so many things involved in it. There's the erasing of other timelines and the things Tim does with timelines, and that affects everything as well.
Okay, but let's stick to Tim. Let's stick to Tim and the timelines, because the people are getting confused with jumping the subjects.
Everything, yeah. So that was Mandela Effect, and I just want to say, as the ADR weakens, you'll see more creations within the Western society from major companies failing, and the classic example of that right now is the Boeing 737 aeroplane. And the engines on the wing.
Yeah, you mentioned that about 6 months ago.
Yeah, because when you look at I went on a lot of planes. A lot of my friends did, and I've said to a lot. One of my best friends was an RAF engineer. He was a sergeant, and he worked on Vulcans, Chinooks, and he knows a lot about jet planes. And I said to him, "Where's a jet plane on a 747?" I said, how much does it stick out from under the wing? He said, well, it doesn't stick out more than a third. It's only a small bit, and the wing's quite high up. And then you need to jump out the windows onto the wings. And I said to him, I said, you don't know what you're talking about, mate. And he went, no, I was in Argentina. I did all this, I did all that. I said, yeah, I believe you. But I'm telling you, something's wrong with you, because jet engines are in front of the wings. 2/3 in front, at least, on pylons. He's going, no, you're mad. I got out my phone and I showed him. He's literally saying, what are you talking about? And every single person I've asked said the same thing. And that's a bad design. When you look at the heat videos, the FLIR cameras of a plane, when you see the fuel heating up the wings are so hot, and they're telling us the fuel's in there. And the only person I've spoken to that fully remembers it being in front of the wing was a Boeing pilot. And I said, mate, that's probably because you're part of the effect, which is the same as the James Bond Mandela Effect with Moonraker, when, is it Dolly or someone?
Yeah, that's when she has braces, and then she doesn't have braces.
I've watched that.
This is the little girl.
Yeah. Jaws found love, he makes friends with James Bond. And he meets the girl, they both smile, and they've got metal teeth, and that's what brings them together. That's what made that scene. The scene doesn't work without it. Yeah, if you go onto Twitter and find her and say, did you ever wear braces in the James Bond frame from Moonraker, she'll say, yeah, loads of people have asked me that, but I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we have somebody, Lula Always, saying that the plane engine thing did blow me away a while ago.
Yeah.
And there's a few people mentioning that.
And now here's one, and here's something that I can't, all I say is this is my friend's account. This really happened, what I'm about to tell you. This is not my account, but I know this guy, and he works in the movies, and I've got friends in Hollywood, and he was a director. He's made a lot of films, and he was recently, I'm talking 2 weeks ago, he was staying with Anthony Hopkins. And he stayed with him for 2 or 3 days, and they got to know each other. Anyway, when he got there, he said, can I use your Wi-Fi? Have you got Wi-Fi? And he said, yeah, of course I have. And he gets his phone out. And if you watch the, what's it called, Hannibal, whatever film it is, I've forgotten, with Anthony Hopkins.
There's lots of films with Anthony Hopkins, but also the way his house survived all those fires. You can talk about that.
Tim, he's one of Tim's role models, so Tim protected his house with psychokinesis and put a bubble around it. Just look at the pictures, you'll see the house, and everything around it is just destroyed, man. Including
the enclave of the Tall Whites. Do you know anything about that, Duncan?
Yeah, but I want to tell you this. I've got to tell you this. So,
we're talking about Tall Whites being massacred at Paradise.
We were, but we will be. So he's in Anthony Hopkins' house, and in that film with Jodie Foster, when he meets her, he said, hello, Clarissa. And the film's famous for that. It's been on...
Silence of the Lambs?
Silence of the Lambs, that's the one. And
okay, thanks.
There's been mini sketches on the Late Night Show and Saturday Night Live, all this other stuff. There's memes all over the internet. If you watch that film back now, there's a Mandela Effect. It's not said. He never says hello, Clarissa. And you go on YouTube, there are loads of people talking about it right now. So when my friend said to Anthony Hopkins, "What's your Wi-Fi password?" What did Anthony Hopkins tell him? Hello, Clarissa. He needs to go back and say, "Anthony, why? And he'll say, "Oh, it's in the film." And they go, "No, it's not. Watch the film back." And we'll get Anthony Hopkins. If we can do that to someone that's involved with the Mandela Effect, I think it'd be amazing. It'd be great.
What do you mean by somebody involved with the Mandela Effect? Who's making it?
Someone who was part of it that remembers it differently. Because when you ask anyone that was part of it, they're saying, "No, it was always like that." And we're all going, "No, but we remember it differently." Anthony Hopkins remembers it as it was because his password is "Hello, Clarissa" for Wi-Fi.
Okay, this thing about Anthony Hopkins in his house not being burned in the California fires.
Psychokinesis.
And there were other things which were burned in the California fires. The tall whites in Paradise.
Stuff was going to start happening to A-listers and stuff because of what they've done. No, you used to make a soul contract for temporal power. All these people have done it in the Omega Point, and Tim's collecting everything. He's going to collect all the satanic badness, the souls, everything, and he's going to use it to rip down the ADR, all of it. You know, evil upon evil, the greatest gift you can do for the Logos, the Source. You know, and then you create sublime good with it. And I won't expect many people to understand that, and that is fine.
Well, just for a couple of people, could you try and explain that? I'm going to see if there's a Skype coming through. We'll see if we can do that.
I'm not explaining it. We got other things to talk about anyway. I'm just looking through my notes. There's so much stuff I've put on my Facebook page lately. I think I need to read it all. I get moaned at because a lot of people don't understand what I've written, and I'm like, well, when Tim taught me most of that, do you think I understood it? No. You know, I never studied occult or the Kabbalah. You know, I was working for the Elohim for 10 years. That's all I did. So what I'd say is, when you read the stuff I've written, you get to a word you don't understand, open up a tab and put the word in it with the word occult next to it, and learn the occult meaning of that word. Leave the tab open and then keep reading.
Okay, what do you call a Nephilim, and what do you call an Archon? Can you explain definitions, please?
An Archon is like a chief parasite. If you want layman's terms, the Archon is the brains of the hive operation. Okay, and a Nephilim is a being that is not like any other. One of the most talked about beings in conspiracy realms, isn't it? The Nephilim.
Yeah, that and the Anunnaki.
Yeah. Mm.
And you were in a place in London during the week, and you had some experience with the Nephilim?
I don't know what you're talking about. I never knew I was a Nephilim. Tim showed me. And he laughed and he said, yeah, he said, they had you, right? He said, those 10 years, he said, the Elohim came to you, which they did. They spoke to me in voice, showed me things, and I gave my life to them. You know, I was a light worker, I was a pioneering light worker, I led the way for a lot of people, I brought a lot of stuff to light, because I believed in it. Some of it I still, some of it's okay, but everything has a hidden meaning, and you're projecting love all the time. Well, be careful projecting love when you don't know the hidden meaning inside love, which is the double ram's horn spiral, which has got evil and anti-good in it. The destructor of relationships and marriage.
Now that is very important, but before that you mentioned Elohim. What's an Elohim? Definition of Elohim.
I've got something going on with the Elohim now, so I'm going to brush on the Elohim, and then I'm going to give you an example of something. So the Elohim, the El, they're just part of God. So they all have different tasks. So the Council of Nine have a task to keep the nurse parasites telling humans what to do, so they obey the authority, which is the governments and the councils and everything. The Elohim were the creators of mankind. And they feed off love and the evil side of love and the energy that's generated from it. You know, and there's other angels involved in this. You know, we talk, you know, and you hear me say negative things about Archangel Michael. Yeah, I have every right to, because most of the world just talk about the positive aspects because they don't know the negative aspects.
Yeah, but didn't James Casbolt have some connection with Archangel Michael and all that?
Yeah, and that's why I need to see him, and they don't want me to see him. So the Elohim, sorry, what are we talking about? The Elohim.
Elohim, Yahoo,
Yahweh.
Yahweh. The gods, the beings that are God or make energy. God.
They're all part of one thing called the Outer Bayoff. The Outer Bayoff is absolute evil. Absolute evil. I say primordial
now,
evil.
could you just say that name a little bit better so we can clearly understand?
Bayoff, the demiurge, and it's pure evil. And there's another side to it called the Amalek. The Amalek is a hidden part of evil that keeps the other half under control. And it's what causes schizophrenia and all sorts of other things in people. And you use this hidden part of evil, which is the good aspect of everything. It's the good. And that evil has to punish the pure evil, the evil intent. Anyway, you've sidetracked me because I wanted to talk about what I was talking about just now. What was I talking about?
Well, why you remember that, there's an American saying, because you're speaking with an English accent, it's more believable.
Okay. I'm trying to be clear. I'm just trying to keep things basic and understandable, because every time, you know, I get, a lot of people say that you put me off. You don't put me off, I put myself off. Because every time I say something, I've got a massive wall of information in front of me worth about 10 hours to a year's worth of talking. And I know that I've got to keep it short and simple.
Well, we've got 20 minutes. We're going to give you 20 minutes to the bottom of the hour, okay? That's about 20 minutes, maybe 15.
So, someone wanted to talk about the i360. Oh, Nephilim. Aeon, Nephilim. So, what is a Nephilim? A Nephilim is the antivirus, the physical. Very powerful, because you can't detect their souls. You don't even know where their souls are. And instead of finding their soul, what you'll find is a black hole. A huge negative black hole. And that black hole is poison to an Archon. And Satanism, and Satanists, and all sorts. And that's a scary thing for an Archon. That's why Tim's got so much balls with doing what he's doing, because he's got all that. And they know it. You know? They're the ones that threatened to kill him. They started the war and all the other stuff. The stuff with Lucifer. Lucifer got too big for his boots and said, Tim, you can't do any of this. And Tim went, I'm so powerful, I can damn the serpent with Eve, the damned Eve or whatever. Corrupted Eve. No, you can't do that. All right, I'll bet you. What are we going to bet? Lucifer said, if you win, I'll give you everything. All my power, which includes everyone that's ever given their soul to me for temporal power. You know, you can own all of that. You can collect it all. And Tim said, well, and then Lucifer wanted to be born onto the earth. He wanted to run around and have some fun. And if he lost, Tim gets everything from him. Sorry. If Tim lost and Lucifer won, and it got close a couple of times, we weren't sure, you know, which way this was going to go. And Tim would then have had to have married Katy Perry, and Katy Perry knows all this. You've just got to look at her videos and Instagram. If you want to look at our Instagram talkings with Katy Perry and the pictures that they swap with each other.
Now, Duncan, what is the significance of a pop music singer got with the supreme beings of Lucifer and God? I mean, why does a pop music singer have so much significance in this?
Suck bioplasm and life force from the audience because they're young. If you never noticed, you know, you get signed to the big music labels, they want a young person that can attract young people, because that gives them more energy. And when you see these giant concerts at massive stadiums, you don't even know what's going on under the stage. Oh my God, if you could suddenly you got all these thousands of people in these stadiums and you suddenly whipped away those stages, those people would run like fuck, mate, because of what's happening. And you're talking horrendous stuff, north-facing satanic altars. And I'm not going to talk about sacrifice. I've explained it in the same post on my Facebook page as JFK. When I talk about the 34 and the ADR matrix, it's all in there. And I'll tell you what they do.
What's exactly going on down underneath the stage? For instance, stages like at Glastonbury,
yes,
and other. What's going
on? Satanic rituals, and a lot of time the artist will be involved and be aware of it. And again, that's uplining energy from the audience through ritual. And I can't tell you why, because only the person doing the ritual knows what they're using the energy for. And Katy Perry is the chief, she's the queen, because she's the main upliner of energy taken from the young, from the pop world to the Illuminati. It used to be Madonna.
And what about Lady Gaga? She's changed a bit recently.
She's just Gaga. That's what Tim says to me. Tim, right, all these Lady Gagas, Rihanna's, and all the others, they're all Uber witches. And yeah, they've all sold their souls, and Tim's just playing with them all, torturing them all slowly.
And what about pop music? Why do certain artists commit suicide? What about David Bowie? All these kind of artists, John Lennon.
Well, they're either sacrificed to lead huge amount of force from the mourning public. Michael Jackson, the world mourned for him. And or they're so possessed they can't think for themselves, or they just can't handle what they've done, like all the Hollywood movie stars. You know, the things they do to get to those positions are horrendous.
What do they do? What do they do? Tell us what you do.
No,
Duncan.
Use your imagination.
Well, what happens?
No, we all know what we've all heard. The rumours, they're all true.
You're talking eating babies, all that sort of stuff.
All that stuff.
Disemboweling them, the whole lot.
Parties, all of it, mate. It's, you know, it's all there. And I don't talk about it much because I know about the video that's on the dark web to do with Hillary Clinton and what she did to that girl. You know, cutting her face off and all that stuff. And there's people talking about it. There's people that have seen it, and you just got to give that time and just wait for someone to put it out. And you know, and that's when things will say, well, you know, if you ain't arrested the cabal yet, you better fucking do it now, because that's out.
Okay, right. Give us something to make us go home and go to bed feeling happy, Duncan.
You know what? It's so much.
Last 10 minutes, right? Give us something making you feeling happy.
We were talking about the Elohim, weren't we?
Yeah.
The Elohim are pure evil. Pure evil.
Yeah, but you've said things about evil, that evil isn't as bad as it is, and what do you mean by pure evil and evil not being evil, and but it's what's happening?
They are part of occult systems and mystery schools, yeah, and they pretend they're helping humanity, but they won't help you. They'll just bleed you from life force, make you old and ill. Now, the other day, I'd just done that post about the Elohim, and I met with a magister. Now, a magister is a temple master who's climbed the tree of life and then is climbing back down it. And I met with this chap. I've known him, you know, I've met him before, and I've told him about Tim. We've talked about other things. Now, I'm not against him. He does things differently. He does things in a satanic way, but he's not aware of it. No, he's not aware of it. And I said to him, I'm not in the Matrix. And he said, oh, I'm not in... No, he's saying, I'm not in the Matrix. And I'm thinking, you are, mate. And I'm going, oh, now how do I tell him I'm not in the Matrix when I know I'm not? He thinks he's not, but doesn't know the truth. That's the hard one to deal with. So I said, look, my pinwheels were burnt out and my pins were moved. And I said, you don't put energy in and out of chakras. You're just supposed to remove negative energy. Don't put anything in it. I'm telling him this, and he's going, oh, I've got 300 chakras and all that. And I'm thinking, oh my God, possession or what? So we do this chant thing, Ra, da da da, and all that. and there's nothing. You know, a few minutes, we do a different one, a more intense one, we do it faster, and he's a temple master. He knows if it's working or not, and he's looking at me all funny. I'm talking quickly because we haven't got much time. And he then, you know, he's asking me how I feel about the Elohim, and it's really personal to me. And I've got a lot of things to say about them, but I'm still working out my relationship with them, and it ain't good for them, I'll tell you that much, and they know it. So he then does, you know, he puts the circle in the room, he squares the circle, does all this stuff with his arms, He brings his arms down and he stops dead and he looks at me and he says, I can't do it. He said, I've done this thousands of times over doing this. Never once have I ever not been able to do it. And I said, so tell me, who has just told you that you can't do this with me? And I said to him, you can do any occult ritual on me that you want. I said, I'm a black hole being. It will have no effect. You know, and you've got to be careful. If anyone attacks me with occultism, they're just doing it to themselves. You know, it's just, I don't know if I can just sit here and fold my arms, mate. So he does this thing and he says, the Elohim. He just looked at me and he's just bewildered, and I'm sort of smiling, going, mate, we've got a lot to talk about. You know, go away, think about what just happened in the room. And he was completely bewildered. Why would the Elohim, you know, after all this stuff that's happened and what I've just put on Facebook and what you know, my relationship as gridkeeper with the Elohim for 10 years, I was very public about it, and I've gone the opposite, and they would not come near me. And he's going to me, oh, but they're being all nice about it, and there's no bad feeling. And I'm like, yeah, they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know what I haven't told you yet. You know. So anyway, that's the Elohim. But there's loads more we can talk about another time. Zero Sum, the 34 Matrix, Nicolas Cage, the 360i. I just want to say, someone asked about the 360. So it was called 360i because it's an iron rod going into the ground. We talked about it in the video we did with Mars Basis Part 5 in the thing.
Yeah, that's down in Brighton. That's where they're using the iron rod.
So why did they call it the 360? Because
it's a British Airways sponsored thing down in Brighton.
Technology. So you've got the 360, which is the circle of the Argand diagram, and it's called the eye because they're trying to copy Tim's eye to the eye technology to block magic. So the magic comes into Brighton through the ley lines, and we've unblocked it, basically. They've spent millions. They've built all those windmills out in the sea, and we've just bypassed it. And
this is important. The windmills in the channel are being used for esoteric.
Don't worry about things like that.
Yeah.
We deal with things like that. You know, so we deal with a lot of stuff going on in the world. We're just not worth talking about it yet. Anyway, so and you know, we've got all this magic, and we've got a lot of magic. We've got a lot of it, and we're going to use the trees. Teach everyone how to take magic out of the trees and then use it to, you know, I'm not talking about, oh, I've made a dragon appear out of thin air, or there's a unicorn. You know, we're going to start off by going, okay, we've got crystal technology you can buy for all this money to heal yourself and do this. Well, you can do it with magic as well, and we're going to show you how to do it. You know, you'll be able to help make yourself live a bit longer with our magic services. Heal yourself, things like that. You know, there'll be lots of things. I won't say too much because I think Tim's going to surprise everyone. You know,
well, the other thing is, with the other thing that Duncan, in closing, another friend of ours called Max Spears was involved with Katy Perry.
Yeah, Katy
and Orlando Bloom.
So Max and Orlando went to the same school. They were born in Canterbury.
And they did a sacred ritual at Canterbury Cathedral with the Archbishop.
Max knew about the Archons, but there's no one else talking about it. I said this to a lot of people. I wish I'd met Max. I would have talked to him and said, just fucking say it, mate, you know? But anyway, there was a ritual performed in Canterbury Cathedral by the Archbishop of Canterbury with Max and Orlando. And one was chosen to go off in Hollywood. The other one was chosen for whatever Max did. I don't really know what Max did in all those years. But Orlando went into Hollywood, and the films with Jack Sparrow, what's all that called? Pirates of the Caribbean, that was an Illuminati thing. And he was set to get with Katy Perry, which he did. Now, Max, I heard, also dated Katy Perry. But Orlando got with Katy Perry, and that was a ritual so that the Illuminati would have the bloodline of Lucifer on Earth. But we've got Tim, and Tim won't let them get away with anything, and he reversed it all, and he cursed Orlando the same as he did Serena Rothschild, and she passed after we did that. That's in our first video that we did after your series. We did it it's in the video. We did that. Tim did that in the video, and then it
Yeah,
happened.
but also
So
we can. What about in the last minute or so?
yeah,
There's a lot more people coming forward about Burnworthy Manor and the training that James, Max,
so much
Dave
more
Marrow, Matt Todd.
things. And I wanted to talk more about the reptiloids and the draconians. Don't worry about them, anyone. And I know there's a few people that are going to write to me now after saying this. They are going to change their ways. That's all I'm going to say. They are going to change their ways. They've got no choice.
A mutual friend said something about that tonight.
Okay, they're going to go from negative aspects to positive aspects. They're going to fall in line with the Nephilim. They've got no choice. And when I say the Nephilim are here, I'm not kidding you. I'm really not kidding you. There's no way we could ever get away with talking about any of this, putting that stuff on Facebook, putting the stuff that Miles filmed last summer on the internet. It does not happen. You cannot talk about that stuff. You cannot say those things about anyone. And we did it. And you know, and these things that, you know, they put Tim in all. You know, he's Voldemort in Harry Potter. He's the bad guy in every Marvel film because they're trying to stop this technology from getting out to the public. You know, and my job with Tim is to talk to the public. You know, Tim's been talking about this for 20 years on Rents Radio, and most people think he's nuts. He's denoticed. He's got nowhere else to talk. You know, and I showed him, I said, look, I've done all this, I can get you out there, so let's do it. And I'm denoticed as well. I know that for a fact. My father told me. And the media have proved
explain what a denotice is, Duncan, just so people know what a denotice is.
If the Sun newspaper agree to print anything I say, could be anything. We're talking about a daffodil that I've planted, you know? Anything, the editor, if it goes past the editor and gets published, he goes to prison. There'll be no court.
It's a little bit more sort of more than a hand slap.
Oh, it's hardcore, mate. Hardcore, yeah. It's a no-no. Biggest no-no. No one in the media will break a denotice. They're in prison.
Apparently, Kieran Lee Perrin, an old friend of mine, was denoticed, and he went crazy.
Yeah, yeah. But luckily, because I was a Nephilim and I was a Nephilim when I was working with the Elohim. And do you know they spent over £100 million on all those helicopters? And I used to go, oh, look, the Black Ops are here. Oh, look, they're trying to stop us. No, they were guiding me. But they knew who I was. I didn't. I only found out the moment I met Tim and he showed me. And that's when I gave up. You know, I'm the bloodline of Amun-Ra. And Ra, I know what they did in Egypt. I know how they did it all. And when I was Elohim, I was Duncan Ra. That's how I did all that. You know, those things I did with James. That's why I was coming into contact with aliens, UFOs, and I could take photos of everything interdimensional. All the orbs, the faces, everything. Because I was with Ra. And they were bleeding me dry. I thought I was going to live forever. No, it's the opposite. Tim showed me that. He showed me what the Elohim did.
Okay, Duncan, we've had this talk about all this rubbish. What about something important like the Interceptor? How's that doing? The car.
The Interceptor's coming along fine. I've got the guy I was talking about just now. It was in the Falklands, in the RAF. I've got him working on it, and it's looking great, mate. All the leather interior has been done.
Now, this is some small little special car that.
The 1968. It's the world's first hypercar. It's Tim's car. It's a Jensen Interceptor. It's the rarest Interceptor ever made. It's a 1 of 1 and a 1 of 24. It does 2.
What do you mean a 1 of 1 and a 1 of 24?
Well, it was the only lightweight racing one they ever released from the factory for the road. Just means it's got things missing, like it hasn't got any power steering, and it makes it more valuable. It's like really weird. And how they do that. And so that's a 1 of 1. It's got no soundproofing, anything like that. And it's 1 of 24 that they put a left-hand manual gear shift in with a right-hand drive, which is pretty cool. They only made one left-hand drive manual.
So does that mean that Tim is left-hand, right? Left-hand?
No, it's right-hand drive. Sorry, left hand on the gear stick is normal. Yeah.
Oh, right. The other thing is, just a couple of days ago...
It does 62 seconds, and it's very awesome.
The other thing is, apparently you shut down Facebook a couple of days ago.
Oh. No, something happened to Facebook, didn't it? But
Just happened to coincide with the post you put up.
To coincide with the #1 secret of the Illuminati going up, posted on a Western server for the first time in living history. And the one post they didn't even try to take off. All the others they took off. I told them to put them back on, and they did.
How did the conversation go with Duncan and Facebook?
No comment, because I need.
You just put a
Facebook.
comment.
I need Facebook. I need YouTube. I'm not against them. I know they're not perfect, but hopefully they'll agree to be re-educated, and then they can keep their YouTube and Facebook, can't they? Simple. But no, I don't think they'd remove anything I write now. I've given up the core secret of the Illuminati, the beyond 34-degree secrets, stuff that's only held outside of the Matrix.
That's the 34th level of masonry, is that right?
Yeah, and if you don't understand, like I say, if you read my post, just Google each word and read the paragraph over and over until you understand it. You'll start to get it.
Well, I think that's enough for now.
A lot to understand. I wouldn't expect.
There's a whole pile more we can talk about, Duncan. It's really good to hear from you again.
Thank you, mate.
On basis 88-8, which has probably got some huge significance somewhere.
Yes. 888, 36.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's hope James works things out for himself.
Miles, aren't you?
Sorry?
You're up to 36. You're climbing the tree of enlightenment.
I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do for basis 100. The 100th basis is coming up.
Party with a disco and just film it.
Yeah.
Everyone drunk, rolling around on the floor, knocking things over.
Jesus.
That's random, isn't it?
Okay, well, we're gonna end it there.
Right,
and I'm going to put an end thing on it. There's the end.
What we should do, I'll go through all the comments and I'll write down all the things we didn't talk about that people brought up, and we'll talk about that in the next one. And we'll make progress.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Jolly good. I'll do that.
I've forgotten to put my end thing on it. I can't go out without my end thing. Yeah, that's it there.
We're lazy and do nothing in life.
Yep. Okay, well, thank you,
All right, then. Thanks,
Duncan.
Mark.
Have a good night.
Thanks for listening. All right, cheers, mate. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Well, there it is. That's first time we got back on YouTube Live. This is a recording, and I'll try and put the recording up later. We've got a lot to do this week, and I'll be going to a few other things, not telling too many people. And, well, there's a lot in there, and it's important that people understand that. Good night.